Today, we're stepping into the trenches and behind the front lines with powerful war documentaries available right now on PBS Passport. Today, we're talking about Going to War, an eye-opening PBS documentary that's available to stream now. It's a powerful exploration of the emotional and psychological toll that war takes on soldiers, their families, and society as a whole. Going to War doesn't just tell the story of battle, it digs into the human experience behind it. If you've ever wondered what happens when soldiers return home or how they process what they've been through, Going to War offers a raw, unflinching look at the long-lasting impact of war. Through intimate interviews with veterans and their families, the documentary gives you a front-row seat to the physical and emotional struggles of those who've been to battle. This film features real stories from soldiers who fought in wars ranging from Vietnam to Iraq, revealing the complex nature of their reintegration into civilian life. It also sheds light on the often overlooked effects on the families left behind, who have their own battles to face as they try to understand what their loved ones have gone through. But here's what really makes Going to War stand out. It doesn't just focus on the individual stories. It also tackles the broader issue of how we, as a society, grapple with the aftermath of conflict. The questions raised about our role in war, the politics behind it, and the human cost are ones that don't just stay in the past. They resonate today in ways that feel urgent and real. Now, I'll be honest with you, it's not an easy watch. But if you're looking for a documentary that will challenge you, that will make you think about the bigger picture, then Going to War is definitely worth your time. Now, we have the Oscar-winning documentary from PBS Frontline, 20 Days in Mariupol. This documentary is nothing short of devastating. I have to warn you, it's heavy. It's one of those films that will leave you emotionally drained. As you watch, you'll feel the weight of the deaths, the destruction, and the overwhelming sense of helplessness. The violence on screen isn't just a number or a statistic. It's real. These were real people. Sharonov doesn't just show us the horror, he gives us a seat at the table of devastation. There are images in this film that will be burned into your mind forever. Some scenes are so hard to watch, you'll find yourself turning away. It's that intense. But it's important, because this is not just for us, it's for the world to see. Now, the filmmaking here is something else. Despite the overwhelming odds, Sharonov captured high-quality footage documenting every painful moment in Mariupol. His narration of the events, the devastation, the casualties, the destruction, is like hearing the voice of death itself. It's heavy, exhausting, and heartbreakingly honest. And even more remarkable, Sharonov and his team stayed behind in a dying city when everyone else left. They risked everything to tell this story. It's one of the most courageous acts in filmmaking, and it's no surprise that this film won the Oscar for Best Documentary Feature. So, if you haven't watched 20 Days in Mariupol yet, prepare yourself for a film that will leave you shaken, but also grateful for the bravery it took to capture these events. It's a must-watch for anyone who cares about the truth, humanity, and the power of storytelling. The United States has been shaped by many events in its 250-year history, but none more significant than the American Civil War. The war that forever changed the course of this nation, not just in the battlefield, but in the very soul of what it meant to be American. In this 9-part documentary series, The Civil War, Ken Burns tackles this monumental chapter in history, bringing the devastating conflict to life with powerful storytelling, painstaking research, and a hauntingly memorable visual style. This series is an emotional journey through 4 years of unimaginable loss, unyielding courage, and a struggle that defined the future of freedom in America. Burns' trademark approach, his Ken Burns effect, uses old photographs, slowly zooming and panning, making them come alive in a way that feels almost cinematic. These aren't just still images, they carry the weight of every story they represent. The genius of Burns' work is how it humanizes every aspect of this war. From the muddy battlefields of Shiloh to the pivotal turning point at Gettysburg, each episode builds on the last, layering in personal stories, military strategy, and the unrelenting emotional toll of a war that tore a nation in two. One of the most powerful moments is the Battle of Gettysburg, which ultimately became the turning point of the war. Burns brings this moment of history to life with clarity and emotion. And then, of course, there's the infamous Gettysburg Address, where Lincoln's 2-minute speech would define the nation's purpose for generations. Ultimately, the Civil War is a remarkable achievement. Ken Burns has crafted a series that isn't just about understanding the past, it's about feeling it. It's a vital part of the American experience, one that we should never forget. And for anyone looking to understand how a nation divided came to redefine itself, this is the perfect starting point. Whether good or bad, wars have always pushed the boundaries of technology. So let's dive into one of the most fascinating aspects of American history, the Revolutionary War. Specifically, we're exploring Nova's Revolutionary War weapons, a show that takes a deep dive into the technologies that helped the American colonies defeat the British Empire. From the iconic Brown Bess musket to the world's first military submarine, this show shows how innovations on the battlefield played a pivotal role in shaping the outcome of the war. The series brings these revolutionary tools to life. You'll learn that, while the Continental Army might have been outmatched in terms of sheer numbers and experience, they had some tricks up their sleeves. The documentary delves into the use of artillery, battlefield communications, and even the early use of naval tactics like privateering. But what's most compelling is how these technologies weren't just about firepower. They were about strategy and creativity in the face of overwhelming odds. The Revolutionary War Weapons documentary reminds us that innovation doesn't always come from the biggest, most powerful forces. Sometimes it comes from the underdog who has to think differently in order to survive. Whether it's the rifle musket, the Brown Bess, or the turtle submarine, these technologies represented a shift in how war was fought. The colonies didn't just rely on brute strength. They leveraged innovation and adaptability to give themselves a fighting chance. The Vietnam War left a legacy of trauma that continues to haunt both the veterans who served and the people of Vietnam. But there's a specific chapter of that story that's far too often overlooked. One that involves a chemical weapon, its victims, and the ongoing fight for justice. My next recommendation is the powerful and deeply moving documentary, The People vs. Agent Orange, from Independent Lens. This is a film that sheds light on an environmental and human rights disaster that continues to reverberate today, decades after the end of the Vietnam War. The documentary follows two brave activists, Karen and the late great Vietnamese activist Tran Thu Nga, who have dedicated their lives to seeking accountability for the chemical agents used in warfare. Specifically, it takes on Agent Orange, an herbicide that was sprayed across Vietnam, decimating not only the landscape, but the lives of countless civilians and veterans. Tran's story is incredibly moving. She was a victim of Agent Orange herself and became one of the most prominent figures in the fight for justice. The film does a fantastic job of humanizing the issue. At its core, The People vs. Agent Orange is about justice. It's also about the human cost of war, the abuse of power, and the necessity of facing hard truths, even if those truths are uncomfortable. The documentary doesn't just leave you with facts, it leaves you with a call to action. That we, as a global community, must do better and hold those responsible for those atrocities accountable. If you haven't watched it yet, I highly recommend checking out The People vs. Agent Orange. It's available through Independent Lens, and I think it's one of the most important films to come out in recent years, especially for anyone who's passionate about justice, human rights, and environmental issues. It's an emotional ride, but one that's absolutely worth taking. And that's a wrap. If you love incredible documentaries and top-tier storytelling, there's no better place to find them than PBS. By becoming a member of your local PBS station, you'll get access to hours of educational programming, fascinating history, and award-winning series, all available on PBS Passport and the PBS Video app. So why wait? Support public television, unlock amazing content, and keep learning. And hey, don't forget to subscribe to streamers like you for more recommendations on the best PBS has to offer. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.